Hi, everybody, and welcome back to TV for Real, where reality and scripted TV collide. My name is Mike Bloom, and we are here for an episode that I'm going to deem super, as we are talking about The Boys. Recently concluded season 4 turns out to be the second to last season of The Boys. Hopefully not the second to last episode of TV for Real, though I am a little bit nervous given the person that may be the third on this panel. But first, let me welcome in my super co-host, Sasha Joseph. Sasha, how are you?
So excited. They said superheroes. I said when, where, I'm here. Listen, I've been itching to talk superheroes. So this is it. This is the podcast. Get ready, everyone.
Get ready. And for those that are watching the video, which you should do, subscribe to our YouTube channel for We Know Scripted TV for all of our podcasts. You are in for a sight because we have a genuine celebrity here with us, member of the Seven. It seems to be the one, the only, coming to us from his ninja dojo. It is Black Noir, member of the Seven. Now, he's not talking, so I can't tell if he's the first one or the second one and has gone, like, finally method from it.
Okay, time to get this thing off because I'm about to die. What's up, everyone? It's your boy, Davie Rickenbacker in the flesh. How are you guys doing today?
I mean, good God. I thought I had commitment to wearing costumes on podcasts.
Seriously?
Y'all have not known Davie Rickenbacker if you think I am, because this man is a cosplay fiend, as shown by the fact that he dressed up in full regalia for this podcast of all things.
Yeah, dude. So like, I was like, oh gosh, I should cosplay for this. And I forgot to order my A-Train. And I was like, I gotta make this happen. I was like, wait a minute. I got some stuff. Let me throw together a Black Noir cosplay. And so here we are.
Wait, I'm dead because you went from like A-Train, who like, we can talk about, he's not so bad. We'll figure it out. Just straight up a mute person for a podcast.
Murder boner, mute man, Black Noir.
I can't. And I want to make it clear, we did not know this. So, and I do wish we were recording when Mike like brings us all up onto the stage because we were in shock. Because I was just like, wait, who is it? And then I forgot. I was like, it's Davie. Duh, this is gonna happen. Like, who is surprised? Not one person.
Absolutely not. Well, regardless, we're here to talk about a show that is full of surprises, but is very much in a wheelhouse that is unsurprising to you, Mr. Rickenbacker, for those that may know you. We're talking about The Boys, though I'm sure we're going to squeeze and talk about superheroes in general. I know Wolverine and Deadpool, that's not the name of the movie, but basically
I'm literally going right after our recording.
Wow, yeah. So we can probably talk about that. I'm sure, Davey, you have plenty of other thoughts about all things nerdery. But first thing I want to ask is how are you doing? I feel like it's been a while since we've heard you on the podcast. Is everything going good this summer?
Yeah, man, everything's going pretty great. As a matter of fact, I don't know if they knew this in the podcast world, but I was working for the CDC. I am now a full-time influencer. I work for Snapchat now. Yes. So I create content for Snapchat. And that's why I got to be on the ready with these cosplays. So I was like, you know what? I'm not doing my new role justice unless I come on today as Black Noir.
Period. Oh my God. What should people be looking forward to when they're following you on Snapchat?
You're gonna obviously be looking forward to a lot of nerd lore, but I am really trying to transition into travel influencing and outdoor influencing because that's where the money is. So, I'm trying to do that. And, I've got a background in this little reality show called Survivor. So, that outdoor and the Survivor might go hand in hand.
Yeah, I was wondering, what is outdoor influencing? Because the first thing I think of is like, this is a tree. Is it something beyond that?
Right. So I'm kind of probably like review dog parks and, I take a group rafting every summer. So I'll probably doing some reviews on that. I even saw something about going to the alligator swamps in deep Georgia. So I'm thinking about doing something like that. And, just a bunch of crazy kooky stuff that you'd see on a Survivor reward challenge.
I love this. As someone that lives for travel, I can't wait. I'm excited. I'm ready.
Thank you.
Well, as you present yourself in multiple ways on our little screens, let's talk about a bigger screen here, Davey. I'm intrigued. What do you remember as like the earliest TV show that you were a huge fan of, or that your fandom truly started with?
Well, this is ironic because it's literally right behind me, as you can see here.
Yeah.
X-Men 97. Well, it wasn't X-Men 97
Yeah.
then. It was just X-Men.
Mhm.
I guess I'm one boy of three. Sorry, I am one of three boys. I am the middle child of three boys, and my
Ooh.
older brother introduced me to X-Men. He was a big fan of Wolverine, and I think by default, as a middle child, that means your favorite character has to be Cyclops. I've done some research on this, and everyone who has an older brother is Wolverine, and the younger brother is Cyclops.
Wait, that's hilarious.
That's
because
interesting.
I love Cyclops, but I'm an only child.
Oh,
What does that
wow.
mean?
Okay, we're going to have to do some research on that.
Yes,
And
please.
Cyclops has one eye, not him, the character, but Cyclops,
Yeah.
the mythical
Ooh.
creatures do. So,
True.
Okay.
You know what? 1-to-1. I get it.
but I could totally imagine, David, they should market because I feel like there's shirts, right? That's like, I'm the oldest child. I'm blah, blah,
Right.
blah. I'm the middle
Yeah,
child. There
yeah,
should be
yeah.
one of like, I'm the oldest child. I'm Wolverine. I'm the
Yes!
middle child. I'm Cyclops. I don't know who
Ooh,
the
that might be
youngest
a
child is.
marketing
Like, is
idea,
that
right?
Jubilee is the youngest child?
Right.
Youngest child needs to be, someone that gets away with everything.
Well, my youngest brother's one was Gambit. So I guess that's kind of perfect.
That's it.
Yeah.
Gambit, or even like a Magneto.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because they disrupt it all. Yes.
And they somehow get away with it every
Yeah,
time.
And somehow get away with it all the time. Magneto was right.
So then, was that just sort of your gateway into like all things superhero wise, or was that just a path you really went down for a while before exploring all these other types of supers that may exist?
Yeah, I think the latter. I guess that we had those Saturday morning cartoons. And so if you get stuck right after X-Men, you've got Pokemon or whatever has you afterwards. I think the Avengers had a show for a little while, but I didn't really get into the Avengers too much until the MCU began. But, just being around that superhero nerd lore and being able to be your own character, being able to pretend, I think that's just all that shaped me into the fun-loving adult you see here today.
That's really exciting. And do you feel
Yeah.
like these were, the comfort shows you kind of still go to, or have they kind of evolved into its own?
No, for sure. X-Men is still a comfort show. I rewatched all of the movies before X-Men 97 came out, and
Wow.
then X-Men 97 came out.
And then you said, wow, this is so much better than most of the X-Men movies.
Dude, I had such a hard time finding the first few seasons until I realized they were right there on Disney Plus. I'm like, okay, when did they do this? Okay. But yeah, I've always been a big superhero guy. As you can see, I'm also a big Walking Dead fan. And we've got some Walking Dead characters this season in The Boys. So we can chat about that a little bit. But all in all, X-Men is what really shaped me into the big nerd that you see today.
No,
Were you a Marvel or a DC guy? Basically, I imagine the MCU kind of shifted you back to Marvel, but it does feel like from a pop culture perspective, like DC kind of ruled the 80s and the 90s with namely the Batman and Superman films. Were you along the same train there?
You know what? I don't even think that I knew there was a difference when I was that young.
That's real.
I thought they were all in the same universe. My older brother was a big Batman guy too, and I'm like, man, you get all the cool superheroes. You get Batman and Wolverine. Who the heck am I gonna get from DC? I guess Superman. I don't know. But yeah, if we put it in today's time, I'm definitely more of a Marvel guy than a DC guy. But I still pay respect to DC's animation because I think that their animation, well, you know what? Marvel is giving them a run for their money now.
Well,
but for a long time, DC animation was reigning supreme.
I love this idea that I guess I didn't even realize, like, everyone gets dibs on one superhero. Like, you can't like the same things. Everyone gets one Marvel superhero, one DC superhero.
Yeah, man.
Oh my God. Can you imagine picking the one you picked as a kid to be like, yep, this is it. This is my whole life. I'm just stuck.
Yeah, I guess that has speaks to people who pick a sports team when they're that young, and it doesn't hold up as an adult.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
and like say sometimes sports teams change management, change players. Sometimes superheroes change writers, change actors. True. So it's not like a 1-to-1, but maybe it's like a 1-to-3.
Right.
I know you can be, I like this version of it. Thank you very much. Sorry, you're a lame if you like the others. Be serious, everyone.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about a show that is neither Marvel nor DC. Let's talk about The Boys here because, I mean, David, you're speaking about how some of that Saturday morning serial fueled cartoons brought you into the world of superheroes, and
Yeah.
you are not alone. I'm certainly part of that as well. But I mean, I feel like The Boys can be a nice commentary not only on the state of the world today, but also kind of like the state of modern superhero culture as well. And that, I mean, listen, it is by far like the most gratuitous, violent, profane piece of superhero culture that is out there. But it also is very much a not even tongue in cheek anymore. The tongue is like firmly poking out of the cheek take on how dark and grisly modern superhero stuff is.
Yeah, man. Just to speak about it being so grotesque, like I'm a Walking Dead fan. Okay, I see guts all the time, but watching The Boys is so uneasy. You never know who's gonna blow up or who's gonna be nude and doing something crude. It really takes a lot out of you to watch that. But I say all that to say that The Boys really has got it together, man. They have been able to somehow show the way that our society is here in the real world and depicted on the screen. And some people have finally realized that they might be making fun of them. Some people have finally realized that
It took 4 seasons.
Exactly. It took them 4 seasons to figure it out, but I'm loving it.
Yes. I also will say, when we were talking about launching TV for real, The Boys came up and you were always like up to someone like we wanted to talk to. And I was like, yes, but I never seen it. So I started watching The Boys like just this year or these few months.
Yeah.
And Davey, truer words have not been said. It is so hard to like binge.
Oh my God.
So I had to stop after season 3 and I was like, Lord, I can't do this.
Well,
it's so crazy.
Yeah, and it's tougher because obviously like Herogasm, which was like the big season 3, for lack of a better term, climax, was like a huge seminal moment from the comics. And I think the tough thing is that Eric Kripke and company had to come into season 4 and be like, okay, how do we outdo that? And like, so as a result, we got some like very gnarly things. Like I would even say, because I remember podcasting about season 3 and being like, oh, there was some like wild shit that happened, but like maybe it wasn't as absolutely unhinged as maybe we were led to believe for those of us that didn't read the comics. But they went like all in on the shock factor in season 4 with like, I mean, when you dedicate like a full minute-long scene to Frenchie sawing Kimiko's leg off and like showing the entire thing, I mean, gratuitous is putting it mildly. And so it does feel like, and especially we'll talk about the show finding an endpoint, it feels like they have to keep kind of outdoing themselves every season, or else they find themselves as cornered as poor non-superpowered individuals in the midst of all these soups.
Right. Believe it or not, the superhero that I just had to pause on and I had to take breaks on this season was the freaking spider dude. What's
Webweaver.
Yes.
Oh my God, that is disgusting, bro.
Most of it, it's like I can deal with gore too, but boy, they just will do anything.
Anything. Oh my God. And it's like they're making, are they either paying homage to the MCU and DC universe, or are they making fun of them as well, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely the latter. I mean, of course, like the mocking of like phases 9 through 15 and even just outright saying Vought Plus is a clear mock-up of really both what like the MCU pioneered. I mean, all of this is to say there is one hand that has to remind us that this is a show that is broadcast on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
So like it's a little bit of one finger pointing forward and 4 pointing back at you of like, yeah, does it rampant consumerism suck? We say as we encourage people to go buy lawn chairs after watching The Boys on Amazon.com.
I have to ask y'all because when I was first started to watch, to me, The Boys feels like what it actually would be if superheroes like existed, because everything else now, like looking at Marvel and DC, feels like babies. Like, oh, that's for babies, and it feels unrealistic. Well, you know, as much as it can be, versus this, The Boys is like, yeah, this is what capitalism would do to superheroes. And they would actually like basically pimp out superheroes to certain cities. And then how, you know, all the isms would come into play with all of this. But that's what I feel most excited to talk about with the boys. Cause I was like, yeah, this actually would happen. And this is actually the most on the nose shit.
No, absolutely. I totally agree with you. The only other franchise that I can think that would probably come close to that is maybe the Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight and all of that. But yeah, man, they got it right. They have it right, as in, superheroes getting in trouble for killing innocent civilians and actually spending time on those storylines. Whereas in the cartoons or in Marvel, you'll just see buildings fall. You don't really see them deep dive into that. But yeah, totally. I think that we were in for some more of that in season 5. So
yeah, well, I think what's so interesting is that now, granted, this number and ratio grows and shrinks with the amount of people that get superpowers and then lose them. But like, it's mainly the focus on the non-superpowered individuals and them being the form of the titular boys. Because to your point, a lot of superhero culture is focused on superpowered individuals, and like, if there are non-supes in their orbit that help them out in some way, great. Like, yay, Lois Lane, certainly be around Superman for all of these things. But this is really focusing around some of like the ground level impact that it can have. And look, we're getting a little fantastical with it. We have the boys existing as like an operation that apparently is existing with as much plot armor as Davie has on right now, where it just seems like we have surprisingly yet to really lose a main character from season 1. Like, Maeve was the closest when she was written off the show, but that's pretty much it. And so, there is a little bit of still that longevity of like, okay, well, they do have a little bit of superpowers, quite literally in the form of Butcher, but it is an interesting focus on how people are responding to the, reverberations that these powerful beings, these gods, if you will, from Homelander's perspective leave. And also just a huge commentary on celebrity culture too, of like being an individual as well as a product, right? That was the whole Stan Edgar, Giancarlo Esposito stuff in seasons 1 and 2, was this idea of like, oh, you think, Homelander, that you're the most powerful person in the world? No, I own you because you are technically my product. And so it's an interesting statement of how, despite existing as like some of the most well-regarded people in the world, are they even people at the end of the day?
Ooh. Okay, big. The boys, we will make you question your existentialism.
Well, I question my existence every time I watched all those grotesque things happen. So yeah, and suffice it to say, the season of The Boys is always attracting controversial topics, though maybe the discourse around this has been the most controversial. And look, I'll say it, and I don't think I'm making a hot take here, maybe a little too far for the show to put Huey in a non-consensual sex dungeon for an entire episode.
Yes, that was a bit much. You know how in the finale they gave us a big disclaimer about the possible assassination? Maybe we needed a disclaimer before the episode about this as well. And I don't know, maybe I missed it, but I don't think they had one.
No. And that was a big piece where folks were like, well, you're watching The Boys. You don't need a disclaimer, blah, blah, blah. And then on the other hand, it's like, sure, but I don't need to be triggered in real life, because some things like seeing people blow people's heads up with their minds maybe isn't real and I can disassociate.
Right.
Not with like actual real life trauma stuff. And I will say, they hate Huey, right? Like the writers.
Yeah, well, I think it becomes like a nice punching bag, for lack of a better term, of like, well, they love when like Jack Quaid is the straight man, quite literally, that kind of like reacts to stuff. So they're like, yeah, we'll throw everything his way. But it's interesting because I really liked him the first 2 seasons. I did not like him in season 3, right? He had that whole arc where he like took Temp V and was like, I gotta be the one to help protect you, Annie. And so I'm glad we went back to like Proto Huey for season 4, but then it comes at the cost of like so much shitty stuff happening to him, including, again, basically getting like sexually assaulted and losing his dad.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he's just been a total punching bag. I even thought at one point that his mother was an imaginary person, just like
Butcher.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Yeah,
I was like, gosh, man, they're doing. I mean, and then just to pivot a little bit, why wasn't she? Because if Huey, shot up with V the same, I mean, I guess he didn't shoot up the same amount of times as Butcher, but he did shoot up quite a bit. Shouldn't he have some side effects too? I mean, I'm sure there's an answer for that. That's why I'm literally asking because I know you know the answer.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is when I unmask myself. I was a shapeshifter in the form of Eric Kripke.
I knew it.
Yeah, exactly. You're welcome. But yeah, I agree that maybe this is something that will come to more fruition in season 5. I mean, Butcher, I think Huey did stop at a certain point. I think wasn't the whole like season 3 finale that like Butcher just like absolutely ODs on the stuff and like goes aggro. So maybe it's eventually coming for Huey, though. Also, what should be brought up is like if and when this virus is released. I mean, I imagine Huey might be fairly affected as well.
Ooh.
Maybe unless it's worked its way out of its system and the however amount of time has ended up displacing between seasons 3 and 4.
I didn't think about that. Oh man.
That again, this just goes back to like, what are they doing to my guy Huey? Because listen, at least with Butcher, it's like, oh, the X happens, and then Y is the result of it, right? Like it's something tracks. With Huey, you're just like, great, he's in the dungeon. Then he's actually even with a Starlight that isn't really Starlight, like X-Men 97, right?
Morph.
Like Jean Grey, like same thing where you're literally having sex with someone that you think is the person, but it's not. That's also not consent. Like, what is happening? So to me, if I'm being honest, are they not giving him side effects because the real life effects are enough for this man?
That's true. Like, I mean, all these characters have their superpower as trauma in some way, shape, or form. And like Huey's getting a high dose of that compound right now. Though I will say, like, God, maybe it's just the dad in me, but like I thought the Jack Quaid, Simon Pegg like death scene was absolutely heartbreaking, and like the inevitability of like them putting Compound V in him and like having the doddering version of his dad wandering around accidentally killing people, but then like the actual trauma and tragedy of kind of having to put him down was that wrecked me.
Yes, and speaking of that, that's another scene that I just could not get out of my head was him running into the person in the bed's body and their guts just exploding everywhere. That was one of those moments where I had to press pause.
The amount of fast forwarding I do, that's why sometimes I'm sure I miss plot points, and I just go back and I'll watch like New Rockstars or someone like explain to me what happened, because BC, I can't, like, what are y'all doing? And the fact that he had to inject his own dad, why? Is there nothing else we can do?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. We could crush up enough pills to make him swallow it, but at that moment, you just gotta strap him down. I mean, as he was going to talk about in the finale, right? Like he's basically desensitized to all of this, and it shows how far he has gone. Now we have gone 24 minutes without talking about Homelander, and I feel like I want to prevent my head from getting blown up by lasers. So let's right that wrong right now. I mean, Huey is of course a lovely, lovable character. Maybe not Homelander so much. I mean, Davey, I just gotta ask your thoughts about this guy, because he is definitely, I think, the most pointed commentary of not only superhero culture, but a certain figure in culture nowadays.
Yeah, man. You know what? I'm not a comic book reader of this show, but this actor, I don't know his name.
Anthony Starr.
Yeah, Anthony Starr.
Oh my God. He is a beast. He knows how to invoke the emotions of the real world audience because of what, I don't know if he's taking inspiration because of some real life events we're going through or what, but he's nailed that role to a T. Like, I hate him so much, but I love to hate him. Like, all the way down to his facial expressions when it comes to milk being splattered in his face, or when it comes to him being in the torture chamber with the people who tortured him in the beginning. He knows how to act.
And to me, the best actors are the ones that you love to hate, right? Because they are really the ones that are acting, okay? And Sister Sage as well, like same thing. Yeah. But oh my God, I couldn't believe Homelander, because I thought, in the 7 there must be one good, and that must be this guy. What a treat I was in for, to be like, he's the main drama.
Yeah.
The others are like nothing compared to this big bad.
Oh my God, yes. And emphasis on big there, just because there's also this interesting idea of like, one of the most powerful man in the world is also the most untouchable, but also the most unstable at the same time. That like there is so much danger and fear in the fact that this is a guy that just can basically flick his wrist and punch a hole through your face, but he is someone that is so emotionally fragile that he might do it flippantly, and like he's not very smart as well. And so again, it's speaking towards this idea of what happens when those people take power. And listen, if it was on the nose for the first 3 seasons, the 4th season, appropriate enough for Homelander, it was through your nose, through your face, into the wall on the other side of the room.
Oh my gosh. I am actually very curious as to what Amazon's thought process was to bringing the boys on and also bringing Invincible on at the same time, because those 2 main characters are very similar. But it's so crazy because it's also 2 very different shows. So I got to give them some kudos on that.
Yeah, it's valid. Solid. Sasha, have you watched?
No, I haven't seen Invincible yet. Unfortunately,
definitely check it out. I mean, if you're intrigued by like the Homelander, incredibly powerful character with a lot of issues, check out Omni-Man and Invincible. It's a very good time. And again, superhero animation is like gangbusters right now.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's just Homelander, right? All these hijinks. Oh no, oh shucks, we gotta get him. Nothing works. Literally nothing works. And I'm again assuming, allegedly, I don't know, that maybe end series finale is like Homelander's takedown or whatever, but it has to be psychological, because physically my man is good to go, right? And nothing's happening, to where it's almost like these reality TV shows, right? Like Survivor, it's like, oh, we can't take the big threat out because they're gonna win immunity. So how do we like mentally get their ass?
Gosh, and you know what? That makes me think like, what is Sister Sage's real role in this whole thing? Like, I have not been able to put my finger on it, whether she's really helping Homelander or she's trying to outsmart him for the greater good. Because when she didn't out A-Train as the leak, I was thinking that it was because she was good. But then in the finale, she's saying that she did that on purpose so that Homelander could end up on top. So I really just don't even know at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I like the character, bringing her back, and this idea that and to bring back the isms of it all, Sasha, just like due to her makeup, that she is someone who is very much counted out, despite the fact that she is the smartest person in the world. And so it's like, why help a world that doesn't want to help me? At the same time, this season for me kind of showed why it's nearly impossible to write for intelligent characters. Like on one end is the Big Bang Theory, on the other end is this, where it's like, if she's supposed to be the smartest person in the world, why does she talk like that? Why does she do this stuff? And it almost did seem like when she comes in doing like the slow clap at the end and being like,
not Angela,
all according to plan.
Right.
Like, was it? This is a staggering amount of coincidences that had to happen in the right time and the right place. Like, you had to count on like Victoria Newman to betray Homelander, go to the boys, and then to have a Butcher who is also over the top because Ryan killed Grace Mallory, to open up his dark passenger in the form of Jeffrey Dean Morgan so that he would kill Victoria Newman. So then it would launch this giant like grab for power. It seems like just a bit of a stretch. Maybe not in the stretch of the way of a certain superpowered individual for, again, someone that apparently had this all plotted out from the beginning.
Yeah, they should have probably just made her psychic if that's the case.
Yes. And funny enough, Davie, you've like moved me now. We had to say like maybe there is a bigger plan for her, because it's not clicking. Something's not working. And I also counterpoint is that she's smart. She's not psychic, right? Or she's not a puppet master.
Right.
Yeah.
No Raven here. So it's just, she's not.
You're playing with fire right now, making so many Big Brother references in front of Davie.
I thought you were talking about Teen Titans.
No, I'm talking about our little show.
You're talking
They're
about
basically
that?
the same thing. I remember when Raven talked on the Teen Titans Tower about having rough kneecap syndrome and getting struck by lightning.
What do you mean? Oh my God, please. But no, it's so funny because like I said, I think she just is smart. Maybe it's like book smart, not completely, but she's able to kind of analyze what's in front of her. I don't know that she's necessarily like a puppet master, like a therapist type that can, actually manipulate people. I mean, she does it to Homelander, but I feel like anyone can manipulate Homelander. just have some breast milk and you got him.
Well, that's what it feels like every season. Like the cycle we get into is like new characters introduced in the 7. They manipulate Homelander. Homelander gets angry eventually and gets rid of them. At least I'm happy this time around that it did feel like we were going a little like Defense Against the Dark Arts with like how many people were cycled in and out of the 7. It looks like we have 2 mainstays right now, at least at the moment, in Sage and Firecracker, though. Again, we'll see what season 5 will provide. I was actually thinking at least one of them was going to die this season.
Yeah. I mean, well, I thought that someone from the 7 would actually die this season. But did we actually have 7 superheroes, 7 soups this season, or was it just 6 the whole time?
So it was Homelander. Yeah, I think it was. Yes, it was Homelander, Deep, A-Train, Noir, Sage, Firecracker. Yeah, I guess that's the big joke is that like I think we've only started with 7 and we had 7 for a couple seasons while Starlight was in it, but then basically losing Starlight and Maeve back to back then kind of filled a couple holes in there.
And Nazi Queen too.
Yes, and of course, Stormlight.
Stormfront. Yeah.
Stormfront, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now I need the count on the boys' side. Is it 7 over there?
So we got, it depends on who you're having. So Butcher, Huey, Frenchie, Kimiko. And then, like, if you count Annie in there.
Yeah, I would count Annie.
And that's basically it.
Yeah.
At least those were the ones that were, like, hanging out around HQ.
Okay. Oh, well, you know what? You could add, what's the kid's name?
Ryan.
Ryan.
Ryan to either side.
Oh, right. That was the story, right? Was that Ryan, there was an open slot in the 7 and Ryan was going to get brought in. So, and that's interesting as well there, that it's like 6 and 6 with Ryan. Very Survivor-esque. Ryan's the swing vote.
Oh my God. No, I'll take it even a step further. He really literally reminds me of Carson so much. I don't know if you guys met Carson in real life, but his whole makeup is like he could be Carson. Carson should be in for Halloween.
Wait, say more.
No, like I don't know, all the way down from the haircut, the way that his mannerisms, the way he talks, he just really gives Carson.
Well, I mean, this is really, I think, the major captivating arc of season 4 was this like new in the course of Ryan and representing like the corruption of the mind. And here comes this kid as a complete blank slate, and he's being set up, tugged between 2 forces, to your point of like, obviously Homelander very much wants to raise him as like quite literally his superhero sidekick to the point where they make designs for him as such. But then he has the Butcher side of things, which is, okay, we want to work with us, come to the light side of the force, and then you can take out your dad eventually. And you know, he leaves things obviously not necessarily siding with the Butcher side of things, considering that he does kill Grace Mallory.
Right.
But I also don't know, considering the info dump he just got about his dad, if he's like going to immediately turn back to him with open arms.
Yeah, I don't know. He may need to just go off by himself for a little while to weigh the options and figure out which way to go. But I don't see him running back to Homelander. But then again, maybe that was foreshadowing because he was feeling it so much. Homelander was feeling it so much until Sage walked in. So maybe he is coming back in the beginning of the season. But I guarantee you, towards the end of the finale of the season, they're going to be at odds. And I don't know any spoilers. I haven't read the comic, but I just see it the way the storytelling has been going.
Yeah, big agree.
Give me your thoughts on Butcher, Davie, because listen, you're a nerd. Carl Urban has showed up in, I'm sure, many of the properties that you frequent, but he's a very different character in this one. I mean, definitely putting himself up there as like the worst with what he ends up doing at the final act of this season. But what are your thoughts about him in general?
Butcher was really frustrating this season because, he kept wavering back and forth on how he wanted to do things. He was the leader of the boys at one point, and he kind of was just very chaotic with the boys this year. And just to speak about the actor, he's an amazing actor. I think the first thing that I remember him in is Thor when he was. I don't even know what the character was, but
it begins with an S. He was the "Behold my stuff" guy.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you can change your accent from that to this, you're okay in my book. But yeah, he was really frustrating to me this season. I actually was kind of pissed that he killed the president lady, man, because I really liked her character, and I thought she was going to be the next member of the boys, and I thought that was gonna make 7 for them and make them the real 7 or something like that. But maybe I've been watching too many Disney movies. But
well, that's the point though. Is like Huey's whole speech, right, was building up like, no, we can't go low alongside them. We gotta go high. Fight violence with non-violence. The only way we be human is to not behave the way superheroes do. And Butcher's like, F it, I'm a superhero now. This is what we do. And then he just tears Victoria Newman in half.
Can I just say, maybe controversial, Butcher was giving me bad vibes season 1. I was like, something about you is sussy. Then we learn, right? The CIA, right? Yeah. Added thing. And you're just like, okay. Then it's like him and Ryan and Becca. I didn't like it. I was just like, why are you treating a child like that? Even if you hate kids, it's given weird. Then this like back and forth. Like I still hate superheroes, but I might work with one. But maybe not. Oops, I killed you. Billy, are you all right? What's happening?
Well, clearly he's not. He's hallucinating a whole ass man.
Yes, valid. So I've got to speak about that.
Oh, absolutely. Negan has returned, Davie, to your screens.
He's back again. I wish I had one of my Negan bets right here. But look, I think that maybe that's why I'm a little bit biased on why I don't really care for Butcher, because I don't give a shit about Jeffrey Dean Morgan. No, not Jeffrey Dean Morgan, but Negan. So, Sasha, I don't know how familiar you are with The Walking Dead.
I'm not.
Okay.
Oh, yes. This is exciting.
Well, yes. Let me educate you.
Please.
So, around the 6th or 7th season, we are introduced into the biggest big bad of The Walking Dead, and it is Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character, Negan, and he plays Butcher's imaginary friend. Do we have a name for him?
Kessler, I believe it is.
Yes, yeah. So he plays him. And Negan comes in with a bang. He literally smashes the head of one of the most beloved characters of the show. And it's to this day that half of the franchise left because they felt it was too gruesome. They loved that character and they just were not going for it at all. And that's only saying one of the many things that he brought within the franchise that I won't say ruined it, but a lot of people just weren't going for. So when I say that I don't really care for Butcher that much, maybe I'm saying I don't care for this guy that much.
This is tea, because what up with Jeffrey Dean Morgan, right? Let's never forget his iconic role in Grey's Anatomy as Denny.
Yeah. I didn't realize he was Denny.
Yes. Because I was like, wait, I've seen him before. And then I just Googled and I was like, wasn't it Denny? Again, which is a pivotal shift for all of our characters. And especially our interns, like freaking the F out and just I feel like going on a whole nother trajectory. So what up with this guy?
Is it a bad
blow up our shows?
Yeah, is it an ominous sign that when Jeffrey Dean Morgan shows up on your show, like it's going to create some very divisive content?
Correct. I think that's it. I think he is the smoking gun.
But at the same time, I kind of feel like he was underutilized in the season. Like, I wanted to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan be Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I mean, he got to here and there, but I was hoping that he was going to be a soup or something, man. But who knows? Maybe we'll get to see something more now that Butcher has fully become a soup. Maybe we'll get to see the JDM side of that as well.
Yeah.
I love Moon Knight.
Yeah, it could be a la Moonlight. We could actually see him like take over as like a personification of it. That could be fun. At least to like not have Carl Urban have to have prosthetic stuff sticking out of his chest for the entire workday. But yeah, I mean, like the Tyler Durden twist was interesting overall. I mean, I don't know. I'll admit, as a fan of The Boys, I think season 4 honestly might have been my least favorite because I think my issue is that, and I love ensemble storytelling, but a consequence of that is that sometimes creators feel like they have a need to give everybody a story season. And like, sometimes that doesn't need to happen. You know, I'm a huge fan of Lost and it's forced this huge ensemble cast, but not every character had a consistent storyline throughout every episode of the season. And for me, like that sort of consternation begins and ends with Frenchie. Like, I don't know what they're doing. Like, listen, he can sleep with whoever he wants, but like, I have no idea what they've been doing with this guy this season.
Yeah, I honestly couldn't even wrap my mind around the family that he killed. Like, did we learn about that just this season, or did we know about that before?
So, I mean, I think it's just one of the many people. Like, we met his sort of like previous boss last season of this random Russian woman that he had been doing odd jobs for before joining The Boys. And so I'd imagine this was one of those like, oh, this happened in your past, but you didn't bring up it until now when you're dating the son of the family that you slaughtered.
Okay.
That's what I was like, vibes. I must have missed them giving this like detailed bio of like how this family was so important in shaping Frenchie. And Mike has now told me that's very incorrect. And Mike, I was thinking of 7 different people when you were talking about this. I was like,
interesting.
Are you talking about Starlight? Because what else she got going on besides the like pro-choice abortion storyline? And she gets swapped, like, you know, or her identity gets stolen. Mystique is here. Hello. Yay. We love that.
Right.
But what's the point? What was Starlight, not Starlight 2.0's role, right? And in even Kimiko, I was like, bless her heart, girl. She is putting her body on the line for us. But where's her actual, I feel like, story besides being our muscle almost?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess they tried to dabble into her past with that flashback. But
the speaking, okay.
But it's tough. I mean, it's because we've already kind of gone there with like her actual brother appearing on the show.
Yes.
I mean, I'm glad to get the origin of like why she was mute up until the last final words of this season. But I would agree, especially on the Starlight front. I mean, it's tough. It feels like we're kind of like Jim and Pamming Huey and Starlight for a second, where I think there was some interesting conflict in those first couple seasons of like, they happen to sit next to a park bench on each other and there's a lot of cute stuff going on. And then they become romantic. And then there's this tension of like, okay, she's working undercover as a mole in the 7. How does this work when he's trying to end the 7? And like, the happier they are, I think the more dead ends they hit with that character's storyline. Even like, God, I'm so happy that for the finale, we had the brief conflict of like, you slept with somebody else, even though you thought she was mean. We had that for like a minute, and then we moved on. Luckily, the show is at least mature enough to realize that trope died out pretty much when it was born like 30 years ago.
Yeah, they tried to give her a little bit of a backstory with Firecracker too. So I give a little credit to that, but at the same time, you didn't really explain it enough the first 4 seasons. Like, I really can't believe that this person that Starlight now was a mean girl back in the day. So I don't know, man. We'll see.
And which she could be. I just think there's a way to like, either if you're a reformed mean girl, fine, there's a way to talk about it. Or if that part is still in you, there's still a way to talk about it. But it's almost like they have to be like, if you're Christian, right, or devout Christian, maybe, does that equal X, Y, and Z? And I don't think that's true, right? I feel like religion can be exciting and welcoming, and you can really be into it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but it's just the way I feel like I wish that they would give Starlight like a way to come back to Christianity and her own specific religion in her way that's like works for like maybe this new quote unquote liberated version of her.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's a very like nihilistic kind of atheistic approach to it.
Yes, thank you.
I mean, Homelander clearly says there is no God. I'm the only man in the sky is me at some point in season 3, and so they very much take the approach of like, you know, utilizing religion as a method of coercion, as we see it through the case of like people like Ezekiel, may he rest in peace. I mean, I think also another example of like, maybe good in doses, maybe not when you dedicate entire scenes and storylines to them. Listen, I love me some Tilda Swinton. I don't know if we need to go that deep on the deep. I think the deep is, one of those joke characters, obviously a big take on Aquaman and how much of a laugh he's considered by people. But to me, it almost feels like the more we give the deep, almost like the less I find him interesting to watch.
Yeah, I don't know. The Deep was never really one for me, honestly. But when they did bring on in the octopus and all this, I thought it was funny, but I don't know if we needed to delve deeper into that into season 4. Like it just, I don't know. It got kind of stale after a while.
Yeah, and his opening, like the way we meet him is under such gross circumstances that we're never, again, the audience is never gonna like have any, if you're normal, I don't know, have any connection, any like positive, connection with him. And it's not the like Homelander baddie where you're like, but that's exciting. Like how do we take you down? It's just like, you suck. And you're like, have nothing going for you. In my mind, I'm like, this is Nate Archibald from Gossip Girl.
Yeah.
And unserious. I cannot, please just go worry about Gossip Girl, not this.
Look, I would have appreciated it more if they would have taken some of those comedic scenes from the Deep and gave them to the new Black Noir. I loved him this season.
Oh, he was, like he really takes the spot that like the Deep took up in the first couple seasons, which was like, we're not focusing entire scenes on him. We're like having him come in and do random stuff and kind of get clowned upon. But I love the new Black Noir. I mean, I loved getting to know Black Noir 1 last season, getting to see the very skewed worldview he has. But I love this other guy coming on and just being so incredibly talkative, trying to figure out what's up, but then also him slowly becoming corrupted and finding out like, oh yeah, now I can see why the other one absolutely loved murdering people.
Another person that is like, for me, again, really beloved, right? Nathan Mitchell. Mm-hmm. I love Ginny and Georgia, and he like plays one of the most normal, like grounded people on that wild as hell show. Everything around him, tornado. Him, a good dad, loves his kid and his stepkid, blah, all this stuff. And then here he comes to play Black Noir. But I like him as an actor, and I appreciate just how they've taken us on this journey with Black Noir.
And I will say, go ahead.
So he's in other things. I haven't seen him in. Okay, so then so they're
not a lot, but Ginny and Georgia. He's like the second. Sometimes first, sometimes third love interest.
Yeah, Ginny and Georgia is like a Gilmore Girls where it's a single mother and daughter. He plays the biological father
of Ginny. Yes.
Okay, so he's got some acting chops that they might delve into on season 5. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I will also say, as much as we talk about Starlight being neutered this season, she does at least finally get some freaking revenge on the Deep. God, how cathartic was that to just have her freaking wail on him to make up for, to your point, Sasha, like one of the first times that we meet him very early on in the series.
So this is what I want. I want characters that I can't care about at all to just get wrecked. Just show up to be the first boot. You know what I mean? I like that. I need more of that.
Davey, I'd be intrigued to get your thoughts on your first choice, I should say, for costume, where material's not a commodity here. I want to hear your thoughts on A-Train, because, you spoke about how A-Train is, if we're talking about, like, heroes turning out to become villains in the form of Butcher, A-Train, the first thing we see of him is, like, a jacked-up version of him running through a person and starting Huey's entire, revenge arc and his indoctrination into the boys. But then, like, he really has his most heroic season this season, though that's probably not saying much given the character. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, man, I don't know. I was thinking about all of the characters, and I think A-Train might be my favorite character of the season. I mean, of the series. The fact that they delved into him as an uncle and a brother, and this redemption arc that he's having. The scene that really pissed me off was at that when they were at the politician's house and he was giving all of these slavery puns and stuff. I was like, this is gonna take him over the edge where he's really going to become a good guy now. And so I guess it all helped out in the end because, well, I don't know if it's helping out in the end because we didn't even see him in the episode.
Yeah,
but I really appreciated his journey. And I'm ready to see what's going to happen in season 5.
I guess that's the question. Do we think he's going to show up in season 5? Because they could Queen Maeve him and just like write him off the show, right? He takes off to parts unknown.
Oh, especially when they like gave him a nice like, oh, we gave you a little bit enough redemption. You can go bye-bye. Oof.
But Homelander knows it's him though. Knowing the most petty person, the most petty suit that you know, Homelander is not gonna take that sitting down. I think that we're gonna see him again, or at least I kind of hope we do. But I also hope he doesn't die. But when he seems Homelander, I don't know that that's not inevitable.
Yes, so that's a good question. Is that we know now, and I can't remember if this came out before season 4 actually did, but the news is that The Boys will be concluding with season 5, and it's got true to The Walking Dead, Davie, some other ways to live on. We have The Boys presents Gen V, which is where actually a couple of random characters show up. The two young children who end up taking down Kimiko and Frenchie are actually two of the characters from Gen V. But the series proper is ending next time around, which makes me happy. Again, I think with season 4, I'm starting to see a little bit of the thread show. And so, listen, I mean, Sasha mentioned Grey's Anatomy. I'd rather much like Huey's dad, maybe see a show get put down in its prime rather than waste out sort of an existence where, like Stormfront on the bed during a certain part of season 3. But I'm intrigued. Do we think that characteristic of The Boys, we're just going to see like a mass slaughter of main characters? Do we predict a happy ending? What do we think The Boys season 5 might look like whenever it shows up?
My vote is for slaughter. I mean, you're going down this hill the same way that you came up it, and I wouldn't mind just seeing a bloodbath, losing characters here and there, but in a good storytelling type way.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear what you think, Mike, as well. But I think everybody, no one is safe. You know what? Who might be safe? Huey.
He'll be the one person standing on all the dead bodies of his friends and enemies.
The F to this character is that he has to live with survivor's remorse while everyone else is gone, including Starlight. Unfortunately, I think that is what I can see really happening, because there's no way, like Davie, you were saying, this is not a Disney movie, right? so I would be like, oh, it would be nice for The Boys to come up. No, actually, I think everybody is gonna go bye-bye, and maybe our boy Huey.
Huey is the sole survivor. It's that season where it's like, how did Huey win? Like, there were so many threats that got taken out. Huey's a very new era winner, I think.
Absolutely.
the Hugh era. I mean, I definitely predict a lot of deaths just because I think the cast is almost too big at this point. So I'm predicting I would predict almost like Game of Thrones level, where I think there is going to be an inner circle of characters that will survive through, and they're going to end on like somewhat of a happy note. But I think the vast majority of characters are going to die. I think we are going to see the return of people like Queen Maeve and A-Train, who are kind of written off the show, to come back to be like, oh, the Supes have declared war on, all the non-Supes. We got to go in and save everybody, including the friends of the boys, now that like basically all the boys have been captured at this point. So I would imagine also that I think the chain of events is going to go that Ryan kills Homelander and like Butcher is forced to kill Ryan somehow. I think that's because I think Ryan killing Homelander is pretty much set up. Like, I think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think that then it becomes a case of like, now Ryan's out of control, and like the lesson is no one man should have all that power. I hate that I'm quoting that one particular individual, but that's like, no matter who he is, he's someone who we can't let survive, because opens the door for an even worse Homelander figure to step up. And so Butcher is now going to be the one to have to like kind of take care of this guy that, to your point, Sasha, he is like begrudgingly adopted as his own son.
Wow, you know what? Now that you've just said that, you've changed my
Negative.
perspective on what I had heard of. I guess maybe I saw a tweet or something. Did you guys hear that Mother's Milk? I don't know what the actor's actual name is, but he was saying,
Laz Alonso, I think.
yes. And forgive me, don't take my black card, America, because I grew up with Laz. I should know his name. But and wait, just a sidetrack again. Do you know that the fandom was thinking that was another actor during the freaking like what? How?
Yes.
Dave, this is why Clark Kent and Superman can exist in the same universe.
Right.
All he did was shave his beard and lose a little bit of weight.
Right. Okay, but back from my tangent. So he had said that he would love for the final season. I don't know if he meant the final season or seasons after to be in movie form. But now with you telling me about Ryan possibly being the guy, I'm like, movie form might not be half bad for a couple of the last quote unquote episodes of the final season. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
God, that would be why. The thing is, do we know why he's called Mother's Milk?
So his name is Marvin Milk.
Right, but that's the only reason. Because to me, Homelander having this weird obsession with breast milk, and then him being called Mother's Milk, how is there no connection?
Right.
Not yet, at least. I mean, have the two characters even met yet?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Have they ever been in the same room at the same
I don't
time?
think so.
In the same person.
Oh my God, for many reasons, I think then I'd say this should maybe gone a little too far with this.
Yeah, what was the other Marvel show that we were talking about? Blackface. Oh, Secret Invasion doing blackface. Yeah. So it's happened. The thing is, like, what's up? You know what? I just feel like Mother's Milk and Homelander issues. It could just be a running joke, and that's fine too. But if they want to tie up that little connection in a bow for me, I would like it. Thank you.
I'm intrigued, Davie. If we put like the 7 in a Survivor Alliance, who do you think would do the best out of them? I'll say like the original. We'll put like the original 7 in there. So we'll put Harley in there.
If we put the original 7 on an island, because obviously if we put the 7 there now, Sage is winning. Obviously.
Yes.
But if we put the original...
But could Sage convince the jury that she was the mastermind at the end? Like, I could absolutely see the jury saying, like, yeah, but I don't think you were really doing anything.
Or I don't want to get
What was your big moves, Sage?
Absolutely. But like, I don't know, maybe Black Noir, because he doesn't speak at all. He's just gonna nod and say yes to any alliance. And then maybe he gets to final tribal council and he reveals himself, and that's when everyone's like, oh my gosh, we have sympathy for you. So yes, Black Noir gets the sympathy vote and wins.
Yeah, I like that he kind of gets the purple edit where just he's giving production nothing, and they're like, all right, we'll try to work with him somehow. I mean, the Deep is the GOAT. Right? He's the 0 vote finalist. He's gonna like make a bunch of these moves and then come back and be like, hey guys, look at all this stuff I did. You gotta vote for me, right? And everyone's like, yeah, we're gonna ignore you. Let's move on to the other 2.
Yeah, I wish I knew Survivor enough to like give a funny retort to who I thought Deep was, because I just feel like he does remind me of archetypes, minus the assault stuff. Like, let's leave that aside. But the like, I'm most likely to join a cult, archetype, because I feel like you're
DP amazing.
Right.
So it's just, he is a mess, and 100% I'm taking him, but I also feel Sage is winning. I'm with you.
She's got it.
I mean, I would say that like Firecracker would be like the person that just goes with any major ally. Like, I feel like she's a huge swing vote, and she's like the person who gets betrayed early on in the pre-merge and is like, all right, screw y'all, I got my revenge here. And then at a certain point, she'll like flip on her allies that wronged her and then join up with the power and just like take it to the end, but she'll get taken out anyway because she doesn't really have anyone who's like truly loyal to her.
But she is also the most likely to get canceled after the season.
Hell, on the season.
Yeah, some people hide it. Some people would just say their profession and you have to get it, blah, blah, blah. No, she said, Survivor Thailand is happening.
I also see, I see Starlight like trying to make a big move and then it fails.
Yes.
And she's like consistently staying alive though, but she's like the underdog, almost like a Kagayan Spencer in a manner of speaking of like, like somehow staying alive, but consistently kind of failing at what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
I like it.
This game.
Yeah, it's a fun one. I like doing this now.
I know it's like a Rob G. Honest right here.
Yeah,
Starlight.
absolutely.
Yeah, I like it.
I love it.
Yeah, and Huey can be sort of like the person that she brings along as like her number 2, who it's nobody regards whatsoever.
Huey is Banu.
Huey is Banu.
But I love Banu, so that's not fair. So who do I not know?
Well, I was gonna say Banu does the Starlight move, right? When he talks about this with the fist, one of your favorite images.
Favorite picture. I think I use it once a day. Just random stuff.
I love it.
You know what? You're right.
Who's
on their knees begging?
Yeah, Banu's superpower is like suggestibility, right? Earning 1 million hearts.
1 million hearts. Yeah, that's a superpower. That's Captain Planet.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm intrigued, Davey. Outside of the boys, what else are you watching nowadays? Are there any shows, either like old or new, that are piquing your interest right now?
Older, new. I'm definitely tell you the show that I'm not watching. I'm not watching Big Brother, so we can get that out the way right
Cross
now.
that one off.
I am watching a lot of anime lately. One Piece is the one that I'm really trying to catch up on because it's got like 1,000 episodes.
So did you jump in on the live action one first and then that made you want to go back?
No, I was trying to finish it before the live action. And that's just impossible. But I did make it to like episode 500.
Oh my God. Did they do something special for episode 500 or was it just another episode of One Piece?
Just another episode. 2 other ones that I'm watching. Well, of course, I just started Cobra Kai since the final season. I'm trying to finish that up. Obviously, I'm watching House of the Dragon. And I gotta say, I might be Team Green.
Wild.
You're in all black right now, and you're calling yourself Team Green?
I know, man. I just love the characters over there, man. They're just so funny. They're so fun, and the guy with the eye patch, he's cool. I know, but yeah, they're very bad. And then Bel Air is coming back soon. The Fresh Prince of Bel Air remake, so I'm really excited about that, and excited to listen to Chappelle and Puya cover that as well.
I like it.
What is a good anime that you feel anybody who's looking to get into it should do? Again, to your point, One Piece is like an Olympic-sized swimming pool. What's like a nice kiddie pool to wade your feet in when it comes to anime?
A nice kiddie pool. I guess I have to go back to the mainstream ones that I started with growing up. I guess Pokemon's always a good one because it's really easy in the beginning. Now, where it is right now with 3,000 different Pokemon, I don't know if I'll say the same. Maybe Digimon might even be a better one because you don't have to think about so many different. I guess you do though. You have to think about the trainer and his Digimon. I don't know, man. Either Pokemon, Digimon, or Dragon Ball Z is what got me into anime. So I'd say one of those big 3.
No, I'm very much the same. Those are like my 3 gateway as well. Digimon, I feel like Digimon's a little underrated. Digimon's like the Amazing Race. If people who know how good it is, but there are a lot of people that are like, oh, I don't watch Digimon. I already watch Pokemon. I'm not checking out Digimon.
Digimon was huge in India. Digimon and Doraemon were huge. Like Pokemon was nice, but I felt like the like Doraemon and Digimon were like people would die for those.
Wild. Any particular reason why?
I have no idea because I was always a Pokemon girly, so I don't know. But like all the kids in my class in school were like Digimon, Doraemon. Even YouTubers now, like millennial YouTubers, will like be like, "Oh, but I love this Doraemon thing," and like at 24 hours eating Doraemon food. And it's like, what did I miss?
Yeah, I didn't realize. I'm thinking about like an Indian Hot Topic having like Agumon shirts, just like blasting off the rack at full price.
Yep. Listen, you can get anything on the street in India. Like,
really?
Okay. Oh. Yes. At like dirt cheap prices. The G from Gucci might be touching into a B a little bit. Whatever. but it'll look good. I'll tell you that.
Oh my God, I didn't realize Doraemon, like, this is the what? Doraemon? Really?
Yes!
Doraemon?
Mm-hmm. That's why I was like, no, I know all of this via Doraemon, which is ridiculous.
Like, at least like Digimon and Pokemon feels like there's a collectible aspect
Yeah,
of like all these creatures. Like Doraemon, which kind of looks like a freak in nature. Like, I don't know if I'm dedicating so much time to Doraemon.
Yeah, I'm literally Googling it right now.
Bad kid, I think. Like, I don't remember fully, but like would just do hijinks and weird stuff.
Wow. What is the age group for this? Okay.
Very weird. That's what.
Right? That's the thing as well. It's like, okay, I didn't realize that this would be, but that's the great thing about anime as well, right? Is that like on the surface it looks cartoony, but beneath it contains so much and plenty of merch along the way. And plenty of cosplay opportunities.
Yes,
oh my gosh. Davie, I do have one last question. I feel like I ask everyone, but I'm most excited to ask you. If there was one show that you could be in the cast of, like scripted, what is it?
Well, I know it's not going to make the most sense, but it's got to be The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And you know what? Me being on Survivor was kind of me being on The Walking Dead because I felt like I was spending more for myself. I was making my own food. I was making my alliances and all of that stuff. And it was my apocalypse. But The Walking Dead is just, people get it twisted because they think it's a horror show about zombies. It's not. It's a show about the people, and Rick Grimes, the lead character, does an amazing job of rallying his troops, and they just become a force to be reckoned with in the apocalypse. And I would love to be a part of that family.
Well, and listen, it'd be primo outdoor Snapchat content too, right? Like, all they do is live outdoors there because there's nothing else happening.
Imagine the travel vlog. Hey guys, welcome. We're back. The zombie dead. The zombie she got me.
Knows.
Honestly, yeah, I think it'd be a great way to bring people together as well. They're super splintered in the Walking Dead universe, so we really need nothing like social media to unify humanity, the dregs of it, to be like, oh man, well, I'm gonna chop off this dissident's head, but first I gotta watch Davie Rickenbacker make slime inside the walls of this prison.
You may be onto something.
We're us giving Davie free content. You deserve. Okay. Thank you because you came here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Davie. This was so much fun to get your thoughts on The Boys, on of course The Walking Dead. Of course, it's going to come up naturally, and a bunch of other stuff that you love to check out, both past, present, and future. Of course, let's end this podcast how we began it. Let's talk about your social media presence. What do you want to plug for the listeners out there?
Oh yeah, man. So as you guys know, like my lead thing is cosplay, but cosplay is more of a hobby, and I really want to try to transition into travel, into outdoor, into lifestyle. So make sure you're following me on Snapchat, is where you'll get the unfiltered everything from me. You can follow me on Snapchat at Nintendo.
Okay.
Yes. I post a lot.
You're crafting like another identity for yourself, but given like your history with other social media platforms, you're ready for it.
Right. I'm trying to get to the point where I make one handle for everything, and when I do, that handle will be Where's Davie. So just
come on, Twitter.
All right, people, let's start sitting on those handles from whatever social media service, like whatever comes around, Blue Cloud, Fire Storm, whatever it is, like find Where's Davie and sit on it. Do us a solid right now.
Absolutely. So you can follow me on Where's Davie on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and X, and YouTube right now. So we're still working on the other ones, but yeah, man, follow my journey. I create a lot of cosplays. I'm working on this suit back here for a premiere that I'm going to literally in 2 hours. Yeah, where the Wolverine and Deadpool premiere is tonight, and I also run an organization here in Atlanta called Beltline Cosplay. Follow us as well. So we are going to be out there taking pictures with the kids before the movies and filming some content and stuff like that. And yeah, man.
Wait, are kids going to see this movie? Isn't it rated R?
I know, right? I didn't even think about that.
We could be watching Inside Out, and they'll just stop by for taking a picture with Wolverine.
Right. This is gonna be interesting.
All right. Well, Sasha, what do you have to plug?
Yes. As always, if you want to know why something is trending, why are people saying everything is brat? Listen, check out Mess Magnets. All right. Kirsten McKennis and I are your pop culture deans. Go check out Mess Magnets on Rob has a website /mess feed. And Chappelle and I are still talking Below Deck Med. Yes, it's still happening over on Rob has a podcast YouTube channel and on the Below Deck RHAP Ups feed. And Taryn and I are we're deep in The Getaway, where if you like YouTube content, the YouTube creators of Jet Lag, which is, again, speaking of Amazing Race, a different version of the Amazing Race called Jet Lag, they have created their own show called The Getaway on Nebula, which is oops, all baddie. Everyone's the mole and no one knows that. So all these famous YouTubers are thinking that they're the snitch and acting like the main character, but everybody bad. So it's a really fun show. And you want to watch our coverage this week over on Rob Has a Podcast YouTube channel because we got some tea on the alpaca humping dog. Turns out he had a girlfriend. Yes.
That sounds like
correct.
Something Out of the Boys.
No, but actually,
we didn't even talk about those animals.
Yeah. No, literally this like huge dog that I'm assuming herds the alpacas because like the challenge was like on an alpaca farm and the dog would not stop like literally jumping on the alpaca. And mind you, that is not his girlfriend, is what we found out.
Damn.
From the producer. Yes, live on podcast. So 3 tickets, Alpaca Challengers, please. Okay. Because that was not his girlfriend. And he was doing dirt. Odin. And his name was Odin. Imagine.
Oh, well, very fitting for Odin to.
Yes. So check all of that
partners.
and you can follow me on Twitter on funsize_04. What about you, Mike?
We got this going on. We've got the Survivor 50 wish list, Summer of Survivor, Big Brother coverage. I know I don't want to say it 3 times because then I feel like yeah, exactly. It's gonna cause Davie to quit this call. I will ask Sasha. Maybe I should start asking this for all the shows we cover. Who had a brat season on The Boys?
Oh, that is so fun. Oh, on The Boys. I think Sister Sage.
Okay. Sage is the brat of the season.
Yes. I feel like she's the most vibes, the baddie, the newcomer that you don't know what's going on. She's vibes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the vibes are going to continue next week as Sasha and I will be back with another reality star talking scripted TV. Thank you all so much for listening. If you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube yet, do so. So again, check out incredible costumes like the ones Davie's making. It's going to be tough to show up next week, but who the heck knows? No matter what, we should be having a great time here on TV for real. Thank you all so much for listening. Until next week, everybody, it's been real.
Peace.